Now, we also have to say that the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, for example, has launched his own relief fund. So we've had a number of individuals as well as organizations. First Sky Group, they've already donated. The Rates Group or Rates Transport also have done donations to the affected communities. And when you get there, you realize that after your first donation, it's just not enough. But we cannot have the same organizations donating or individuals. So we need everybody on board as well. We have Voltaic also donating, a number of our corporate clients, as well as those we have great relationships with, also donating. Individually, you can also walk into the premises of Media General, or popularly what we call TV3. It's just around the Presidential Drive, so just adjacent the Jubilee House, and then come and do your donations. This is a great appeal. Let me just also introduce our guest for the morning, as you also touch base with us on TV3 Ghana. I have Alfred Thompson. Good morning to you. He's currently the chair for the Central Region.
Council of Patrons.
Okay, Council of Patrons. And then good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
All right.
you.
In the middle there.
Trip to the voter.
I was okay. All right. So we have Lawyer Kwame Jantua also here. Thank you for joining us as well, Lawyer Kwame Jantua.
Good morning. Good morning. But you didn't mention our donation, the Tanker Owner Union.
Yes, Tanker Owners Union.
4,500 bags, 5 kilos.
So
right.
So the Tanker Owners Union, they also donated. So we have a number of organizations all donating to the people of the affected areas. And again, let me itemize. Even though the focus seems to be a lot on North Town, Mepe and all that, Mepe is the most affected because you can go to Mepe, Bato, and you find so many flash points, so to speak. I mean, collected water. It's not just collected water, like river bodies or water bodies, in communities. So that is why. But we have from the Sojamine constituency right through to North Town. We have Central Town, South Town, the Anglo constituency, and then Neketa constituency. So, and then Adan East, of course. Yeah. All right. Then Abraham Amaliba, he's a legal practitioner. Currently, he is with the Resolutions Committee. Is it Resolutions Committee of the NDC? And good morning to you, Mr. Amaliba.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. But there's something that I think the nation must hear this morning. The police service is setting a dangerous precedent.
What is that?
And they must be told that if this precedent is established, they will be unable to keep the peace of this country.
What is it?
The police, I've seen a letter going around, written to Bempa, Owusu Bempa.
Oh, you mean the convener for fixing the country?
Exactly. And in that letter, the police is in cahoot with Owusu Bempa to demonstrate and go onto a private person's property to present a petition. That is dangerous. The floodgates will be open. Tomorrow, somebody will say that I'm also going to demonstrate to Kufuor's house. Can we, as a people, guide this process? And I think that the letter written by the police to Owusu Bempa is a clear indication that the police is in bed. Look at the last paragraph with the demonstrators. The command, that's the police command, kindly requests you to submit a new letter confirming the date and the route. Why would the police be asking demonstrators to come to them with letters because they want to demonstrate? Don't the demonstrators know what to do? What if the demonstrators have decided that they are going to abandon their position? Now you have the police who invariably is inviting the demonstrators to bring a letter. This police is the same person that will go to court to injunct people. You get it? That will go to court to injunct people who want to demonstrate to public places. Now the police is inviting demonstrators to come to private people's property. And I am calling on well-meaning Ghanaians to speak up, else the floodgates will be open. And if you are not ready for the flood waters, don't open the gates.
Roland, quick pet challenge I have, if you'd allow me. I heard on the radio today that a number of our water bodies have elements of cyanide, lead in them. I think Parliament has done us a disservice with regards to revoking the law, the one that we can kill people. What is it called? The law that we can shoot people.
Firing squad.
No, the law that they revoked.
Death penalty.
Death penalty. If people can pollute our water bodies, and children who are born can be deformed, and most of our rivers are now lead infested, aren't they killing us?
And mercury.
Yes, and mercury. Aren't they killing us? So why should we let them go?
Okay.
I think Galamsey should be put to the level of treason, because it's dangerous what is happening with our water bodies. And just recently, I'm not sure whether you listened to a documentary where one of the doctors was saying one woman got pregnant.
You mean the Arrestos documentary?
Yes. One woman got pregnant.
Deformities.
She died. They took the child out. The child was deformed, and within her womb, it was full of lead and chemicals because of the water she was drinking. We need to take this thing seriously. We are not taking it serious enough. And if we don't take care, the type of diseases that are going to happen. Can you imagine if this spillage happened in Galamsey areas? Can you imagine? The kind, even just walking in the water alone would create problems for your skin. Something has to be done.
But we have to say it's equally dangerous, even the water that is or the river bodies or the water bodies we have in the Galamsey areas. Well, so we have to begin the discussions, and as I always do, let me just say good morning to a number of my friends. I say our friends, so the friends of Media General who keep watching us. I have Money Need Money. Money Need Money says, TV3, why give Roland Walker only 3 days now? We want Roland, please. So we have Money Need Money. SK Frimpong Abrakwa, good morning. Evans Ibn Samba, Divine Kokoye, and then I see Daniel Abwaji Awazi. Good morning to you. We're grateful. Prince Anani Salasi joining us from up north. Solly Evans, a great guy. Evans Blay, it's been a while. King Seram Lawrence, Avid Boy, Shadai Adote, many of you also joining us. Trade I was in Trade, and then John Bosco Akotia. Sir, good morning to you. How are you? And then a couple of you. Philip Abochi from Keta constituency is joining us as well, also affected by the flood, and very vociferous on the channel is Brakweku. Now let's get to Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Get an insight for him from our interaction yesterday, the efforts being undertaken, what the advocacy is to make sure the right things are done, and then we'll come back. We'll put some questions to Alfred Thompson, and then we'll begin the discussions.
Wow.
You recall that our chiefs were appealing to the president when the president came here that if he could open Saglemi for our people to be relocated, because they can't stay in classrooms, for long. I mean, classrooms are not designed for residential accommodation. But in the meantime, seeing that it doesn't appear that the president is comfortable with offering Saglemi for our people, we are trying to mobilize on our own. So I want to announce that we have secured land, large tracts of land. So particularly construction firms who want to come in to help us, even if it's prefab will appreciate it. Because compatriots elsewhere are learning. So our children are being left behind. They are losing precious academic time. And they are all going to write the same exams, the same BEC, the same WASI. How would they cope? So we need to relocate our people so that academic work can begin, the schools can be reopened. Then thirdly, the public health aspect of things. We really have to pay attention. I am glad that the Director General of the Ghana Health Service came here to see things for himself. He saw how precarious the situation is. I hope that he will quickly mobilize a public health emergency plan and support system so that already the typhoid cases we are seeing, the cases of cholera and all of that, does not,
Malaria.
blow out of proportion. Then we will have to have that difficult discussion about full compensation. VRA must know that they won't be allowed to get away with this. It is not fair to make people lose their livelihoods, lose their properties, lose their farms, and then you think that they should just cope with it. And I mean, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
We will insist on full compensation. And if we don't hear them announcing a plan for full compensation, we will bring legal action.
Well, so we have also on our stream, George Kwame said them. Who says I've ignored you? I haven't ignored you. Just so many of the names, and well, so where are we now with the effort? I think on the ground we see some or a lot of relief activities, but what's the main game and the plan now?
Going forward, or what has passed, or what do you really want to know?
Okay, so what's the game plan now? From now to and then to the time that we finish spilling water from the dam, and then post that spillage, get some relief comprehensively post that event.
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to lawyer and lawyer. You brought two lawyers to attack me today, so.
Oh, we're having a conversation. Nobody's attacking anybody.
Oh, you wait for Amaliba to start.
Okay.
Roland, I believe that VRA gave 10 million cash to, I think, for relief items to NADMO to buy certain things to at least start what is supposed to be the relief of whatever is happening at the moment, the unfortunate incident that has happened within the last few days. Prior to that, I think they did a lot of simulation exercises right from May till date before they started opening the dam gradually for the spill to happen. And so after all this, they had to come in to see the evacuation exercise and everything. President has visited, the vice has visited, the team that has been set up. They have also visited to see at first hand what is there, what has to be done to put things right. So efforts are being put in place to make sure that the necessary evacuation is still ongoing. I think 10,000 have been moved to safe havens now out of the, I think, 26,000 that they were stating that they have been affected. Still, they are looking at efforts to make sure that people are moved, because once the dam is being opened or the spillage is ongoing, which is not going to stop now, once because of the climate change, things have changed. We can sit here today and then all of a sudden the rains will start. So once the dam is still being spilled, we should all know that definitely the dams will be opened. Once it's opened, the spill will still be, the waters will still be moving out. So it's not going to, I don't think it's going to stop within the next month or so. Within that time, the necessary evacuation is being made, the food and supplements that they are supposed to use to support, not that the government is fully feeding, but at least to support the victims and the emergencies that they need to put in place are all being done. So to start the whole convo, I think that is what is being put in place at the moment to make sure that the 9 districts that have been affected, the necessary measures are being put in place to make sure that they are okay,
right,
at least in their living condition for now.
Mr. Maliba, at the end of the day, I think we have to make sure that we keep drumming home the need for more efforts. And when you get onto the ground, the Member of Parliament says that the VRA needs to talk about the question of compensation for these victims.
I think let's call a spade and say that state institutions that are responsible to ensure that this flooding did not affect the people the way it has affected them have failed. They have failed because the people are suffering massively because the institutions, the VRA, the NADMO, and other allied institutions have slept on their job. I hear people say that there were simulations to the people. My understanding of simulation is that a simulation should be close to the reality. That's my understanding. Are we being told that with the level of water that has been pumped out and houses have been submerged, there were simulations by whoever, and that person did simulations in that high amount of water? That person who did the simulation, did he submerge himself in this type of water? And so, and the worst of it all, has the president apologized for his hogwash statements that he made to the people of Volta region? Has he apologized? This is the third day. I thought that the president should have apologized for the hogwash statement that he made to the people. See, people are distressed. You take the people's car, because the car that the president drove to that place was bought by the people. You take the people's money, fuel that car, go to the Volta region, and you insult them in this way. The whole country is up in arms against you. What you could do is to apologize to the people of the Volta region. He has failed. And I've heard all sorts of complaints about the president. The president's problem is none of those things that people have said about him. The president's problem is poor upbringing, which will then culminate into all the things that he's doing. The presidency doesn't change you. When you become a president, that office doesn't change you. It rather exposes your character. The amount of water, I'm talking about 400 billion gallons of water that has been pumped out. 400 billion gallons of water that have been pumped out. The people are in distress.
Yeah. Very much
I am
so.
told
Very much so.
that they are even asking that they be housed in the abandoned Sagleme properties, and the president is not yielding to it. What is it at all? You interviewed, they told you that you went there. They wanted to move because the whole place is flooded.
Yes.
These are Ghanaians. Move them to the Sagalmi housing abandoned project. You don't want to do that. What is it? Wickedness to our own people? What kind of president it is?
Why should they move them to Saglemi? I think the MP2 has proposed that and asked him that question. Same. It's even a distance away, so I'm wondering.
But they are prepared to go. If they are MP saying that, what I'm saying, then that means they are prepared to go. But that is in that constituency. Is it not in that constituency, close to that constituency?
Okay, if you get to Sege Junction, then you come down.
Yes. Part of that constituency is around the Sagaleme properties. And so it appears that under this administration, the people of the Volta region are glorified citizens. You know, they are seen as second-rated.
Why do you say that?
I'm saying that because when a similar thing happened in another part of the world, a country, you saw how the response was. I'm talking about the Apiati disaster. Commendable. And that was even a disaster caused by a private company this is a disaster caused by a state institution, there must be response from government that shows that they are ready to deal with it. Now, as we speak now, has nothing in their warehouses.
Who told you that?
Oh, didn't you hear the district NADMO officer? You have been doing these things. You should be abreast of these things. Stop playing the devil's advocate. Who said that virtually they have nothing to give to the people? And so, is it a country that can look after its people? No. So in this country, when, God forbid, when something disastrous happens to you, you are better than dying. See.
Well, Mr. Maliba, are you denying the presence of the various agencies, of the various ministries that have been put together in this interministerial committee? Because the reality is, when you go to the ground, you find them. The question then is, do we have enough or intensive action on that aspect? That would be the questions. Because what we need to do now is to make sure that
the army,
we do the advocacy.
You saw the army there?
Yes.
Was the army not in a boat?
They were.
Have you provided boats for the people? Did you? I'm saying the people, the institutions did not play their roles. Yeah. When you were sending the army there, you sent the army with boats. The people who are living there, you pumped water into their community. You should have also given them boats.
Or
so
canoes,
that if
you can.
Or canoes. So that if the water gets to this level, they will also be able to carry their items and their properties away. When you go into somebody's room and you see the properties in the room, it would have taken 10 years for him to acquire them. He buys a TV, one. Those things are not bought one day.
Sure.
You don't know how living is.
That's true.
All the things you see in a person's room are not bought one day. So look at the kind of damage you have caused to somebody who has used like 10 years to acquire his properties in those areas. So the disaster preparedness was not up to scratch. That's my point. And I've given an example of the army. When you were dispatching army there, they went there with boats. So if your simulation is right, you should have given the people boats. So that you tell them, if the water level is rising, this is what you do with the canoes. Did they do that? Accommodation, no. You couldn't also evacuate them. I think that I agree with those who are saying that there should be legal action against government and, for that matter, VRA for compensation. That, for me, is the way to go.
Mr. Maliba, based on the observations and the information you're getting there, because you're close to one key organization, the Tanker Owners Association.
Did you say Mr. Maliba?
Lawyer Jantua, you've made a direct interaction. You made a direct interaction by donating relief items to these affected victims. It also means that you have a direct observation about the effect that this spillage has on them. Who should be owning up to a more sense of responsibility than already we've seen? Lawyer Jantua.
Good morning. Good morning to our viewers.
Good morning.
Who should be owning up to a responsibility?
Yes.
All of us should be owning up to responsibility.
Okay.
I don't think with this particular situation it's time to point fingers. I don't think so.
Exactly.
I think it's time for us to act together as a country in a situation like this, and everybody should play their part. I also went to Akosombo. I sent you guys clips of what I saw in Akosombo.
You did.
And I sat with the engineers in Akosombo. And if you permit me, let me read you the notes I took down when we had the interview. Remember that The dam has been spilled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
10
8,
times.
10 times since 1966.
Yeah.
The last one was 2010.
This is the 11th.
I will come to that. Now, let me read my notes. And this is what I gleaned from them. And they said, per their projections in November 2022, they noticed the volume in the reservoir was building up. So they informed NADMO of their intentions to undertake a simulation exercise. Now, this simulation exercise was a live simulation exercise and was to conscientize people living along the lower Volta Lake on what they need to do in case they needed to spill. So in May 2023, they launched a simulation exercise called Daohoso. This was a live exercise involving NADMO, the police, military, and other relevant agencies and 9 district assemblies. This was to sensitize them on the need to move to safer havens or higher grounds in case there was a spillage. Then, somewhere in August, they noticed the volume was building up as they tracked the inflow. So VRA decided on September 15th to open the gates a bit per their projections so they could achieve the level safe to protect the dam. 150 billion liter cube was the volume of water behind the dam which was to be spilled. So they decided to do controlled spillage whilst they monitored the level of water in the dam. All the communities were updated. They issued press releases to inform the public so they knew they had to move to higher levels in case the water level rises. So VRA put in all the required protocols to ensure that lives and properties were not affected, but people adopted a wait-and-see attitude and were not ready to do the needful.
Thank you.
All the district planners were given inundated maps to show them which areas will be affected in case there is a spill. So, on the part of advice, they advised. However, the turning point of all this is the magnitude of the water. And when you stand on the top of Akosombo, the dam, and you see the water coming in, the velocity and the force, if they hadn't opened the floodgates, it would have breached the entire dam. Look, as difficult as this is, it was a necessary evil. There's nothing we could have done with regards to the water that was coming in. Now, remember, the water was flowing from the tributaries that flow into Akosombo, and also the rain was falling into the dam directly, which increased the level of water. Look, I believe the people of Ghana should be grateful to the affected areas. Why? If the water had breached the dam, we would all be in a very precarious situation. There's no way at this particular moment where the country is today, economically, with our finances, there's no way would have been able to correct that dam. So yes, it is sad that this has happened. Now, the one thing, and I'm not going to go into the mechanics and what the president said, but there was one thing the president didn't do. He did not bring Ghanaians together. He did not let private sector, individuals, everybody said this is a crisis that all of us should be part and parcel to help the affected areas. I didn't hear him say that. Not unless you did. Not unless my fellow panelists heard it.
He said what?
He said that
Look.
it calls for everybody to come on board
Look.
to make sure that we solve this problem.
He should have said it even much better.
He said it.
No, private sector. This.
mention the
Let's.
private sector
He should.
before.
He should mention everybody.
I see.
For people to feel part of it. For Ghanaians to feel part of it.
Even if he said it was
Look.
drawn by his
Look,
wash statement.
The
it was
one
all
thing he could have
taken by
done,
that statement.
the one thing he could have said there, the one thing he could have said there, he could have said, because of this situation we find ourselves in, the COVID levies we've been paying will be converted to take care of this disaster. He didn't say anything like that. COVID is over, isn't it? Are we still paying COVID levy?
So you're saying that the way we embrace COVID, we should embrace this as well with the same effort.
For me, it's a national disaster.
It is.
And the Constitution talks about natural disasters. And when you read the definition of a national disaster, it falls right in place with this. Now, we have spilled since 1967. So, let's only take the Fourth Republic. Considering the coups and the military, let's take the Fourth Republic. What have we done? We know we have spilled the Akosombo Dam 10 times. What have we done to direct the water? And when we
You mean through engineering solutions?
through engineering solutions, it's a priority, isn't it?
Should be.
It's a priority. And when the president holds back from announcing a state of emergency, can you put the Bagri Dam spillage the same level as this one? Can you put the Wager spillage the same level as this one? You can't. What even freaks me more is the level of the water when you look at how high it is risen, right to the rafters of the roof of houses. It's a question of all of us putting our hands together. And so far as I'm concerned, the president should have led this. The president should have led this. It should have been in the office of the president to make sure that the state of emergency is given. It will allow other institutions, UN and all those people to come in. These boats that Amaliba is talking about, they can bring these boats in. Because you see, the institutions that were part and parcel of this were advised by VRA. Now, let's come to the question of money. Has NADMO got the wherewithal to be able to handle this level of disaster? And you see, this is where we won't learn from it. Can you imagine, Roland, if we have an earthquake in this country?
We will die.
Can you, taking this,
From what?
and are we going to learn from this and put the right criteria in place so that people will be saved? The one thing God has helped us with is that nobody has died. And for me, yes, it is shameful and it is hurting for people to lose their material things. But let's face it, it's material. It's material. Life is much more important than material things we have. We need, once the water drains out, we need to find ways and means of compensating people to get their houses back in place. Because where we stand now with regards to this flooding, it's not going to stop. And it also, you see, when certain things like this happen, we should now look forward and say to ourselves, the climate change is real. And really and truly, the Volta region has been a case study for Ghana where climate change is concerned. Haven't large tracts of land been consumed by the sea in the Volta region? Quite a lot of areas in the Volta region are underwater. What have we done about it? And so the government has a responsibility from this point on to make sure that such disasters, the people know what to do. VRA did a live simulation.
When?
This was May. I just read it.
Okay.
Live
So
simulation.
you spill water. You spill water in October. If you envisage, and this one,
They envisaged November 2022.
Yeah. Okay, so in undertaking communication action with stakeholders, where you know that there will be an emergency,
Yes.
you have protocols in place.
Yes.
So the protocols means that everybody will take action when the protocols come.
Yes.
And you envisage that when you take action, it also means that there is constant reminder of what the action points or the standard operating procedures are. Mm-hmm. So did VRA and the allied agency, did they do this to the wire?
Well, they are telling us
That they did.
that they did. Are you saying we can't trust them? Look, Roland, the question isn't whether they did it and if they didn't. The question is the volume of water. That is the question. Look, I don't think anybody could have done too much with this kind of volume. I don't think so. Do you think so? With this kind of volume? If it's happened to be Wager, maybe. But with this kind of volume, we couldn't do anything about it. I'm saying it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil. The people who have been inundated with this disaster have saved the people of Ghana. And we should be grateful to them for what they've been through. Because if that dam was breached, today we would be in doomsday. Because remember that the national grid is within the Akosombo Dam. And if the dam were to be breached, the national grid too would have been affected. I mean, the disaster would have been quite astronomical compared to what is happening today. That is why it is important that government finds money. And for me, the first point of call is the COVID funds. That's the first point of call. Declare a state of emergency. Others can come in and we can start helping our brothers and sisters who have been affected in this area.
But you see, nobody is against the spillage. So when you say that, because the spillage,
it's as if we are blaming.
Nobody's blaming
no,
the spillage.
it looks
The
as if we are
spillage-
blaming VRE.
No.
That
wait.
they could have done more.
the spillage.
Nobody is saying that they shouldn't have spilled the water. But we are saying that in so doing, you should be prepared because there could be consequences.
Do you know
Now,
that?
And you think they were not prepared?
Are you saying that the people
They
who
were
are
not
affected
prepared.
are people who have benefited from anything? Are you saying that?
They should pre-benefit before.
I'm saying that. Do you understand me? Spill.
He said they should be
But when you are
prepared.
spilling, the state should be prepared to come to the aid of those who have been affected. Is
All
that
right.
what we are
Are they
saying?
not doing that?
All right.
Where?